Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another vintage live stream. And today I've got my vintage crew with me, the great Rich Mitch across the pond, and Jonathan 1970.
1970.
1970. So we have the Ram,
give me 7 years.
The Duck, and the T-Rex, the Holosaur. He's got a haul coming tonight for everybody. So thanks for joining, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir. Always
good to have everybody. So a quick vintage story. We have been on the hunt for a rare, hard-to-find fragrance. And, of course, all the way from England, Rich Mitch did some digging. And in America, he found a shop that had 3 bottles of Metropolis by Estee Lauder from 1987. And we are wearing this as our scent of the day today. And interestingly enough, you know, when Rich Mitch first started his channel, there was a fragrance that we loved and talked about. And I know we've talked about it with everybody, called Calvin. And I told him, hey, mate, there are literally 0 videos of Calvin on YouTube. You should do one. And he did one. I think he was still maybe the only one on YouTube that's done a video on it. And I checked today, and there are, again, 0 reviews on Metropolis. So we thought, since we all got our bottle, that we would just kind of do a vintage live stream chat where we kind of featured Metropolis. And the very first comment was as if prices aren't high enough. I think he deleted the comment, though. So yes, we're going to talk a little bit about Metropolis today. What do you guys make of this? I'll let you go first since you're the guest. It's my first time wearing it today. But what are kind of first impressions? Jonathan, if you want to go first.
I like it. I like it. The seems like that peppermint is the star of the show. But it's well done. Peppermint or mint of any kind can absolutely ruin a fragrance if it's not done right. And this one's done just right in the top, and then I would imagine the geranium in the mid helps to continue to usher it into the mid. And but it's balanced, it's well blended. I love it. It's Chypre like, isn't it though?
Yeah, it's a definite flanker of the original Lauder for Men from 85. Do you think it's it's obviously supposed to be like a fresher summer flanker of Lauder for Men? This came out 2 years after the original Lauder for Men. Do you see the similarities between the two?
In the base, maybe. In the mid and the base, not up top. Up top, that the opening of Metropolis is very unique. I like it. I like mint though. I like peppermint and spearmint, and I like different kinds of mint as long as it's done right. As long as it's got, you know, an ensemble with it. Like just mint is too much, I think.
Yeah, Rich, you've had it longer than all of us. What do you make of it?
Well, when I first sprayed it, I was delighted. I got the similarities with Lauder for Men, absolutely. Yeah. I got this dryness, and I was talking to you two before the stream about how I felt like the spices in the middle and the mint is like a spicy mint. I felt like that kind of thread of like this dryness like runs through the fragrance, and it runs through Lauder for Men as well. It's got this combination of cloves, cinnamon, and what was it? I forgot what it was called before. Tarragon. It's got this kind of like this spicy kind of dry air quality about it. The mint at the top as well gives it this kind of freshness. So it's like fresh, dry, like, you know, when you get your laundry out of the washing machine and you get this kind of starchy, clean like fresh, almost dries your throat out kind of vibe. It's got that about it. And then as the mid progresses, it sort of like starts to transition towards this silky, smooth, almost creamy, because it's got sandalwood in it and leather, but still almost effervescent kind of vibe. It tingles around. Sparkly. Yeah, it's got like a sparkliness which comes from like the ambergris as well. Like I was saying before, it's got one of the nicest sort of uses of ambergris in a fragrance that I've smelled, and it lasts all day. I know you two haven't had it on for very long, but for me, it lasts and lasts and lasts and clings to your skin, and it smells beautiful all the way through. I
put it on last night and woke up with it today.
Yes.
It's not a projection monster, but it keeps a bubble around you for a long time, a very long time.
Yeah. So this is my first time wearing it, but from the very first impression, I get a lot of that same like green galbanum that I get in the original Lauder for Men. You know what it feels like though? As I was kind of thinking about what I would say about it today, it feels like it's kind of like the end of an era, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is like after this, from 1987, we started to get heavy into the aquatics. Even in the late 80s, actually, stuff like this started to come out. New West, which is like it started to go that Calone aquatic, and I really think this is like Estee Lauder's one of the last attempts at doing like a fresher fragrance before the 90s aquatics kind of came in and swept everything away, but with real ambergris and like that vintage masculine citrusy Chypre style going on. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this fragrance flopped because tastes were already changing in the late 80s. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people wanted those fresher fragrances, but they wanted them to be aquatic. And this, to me, like when I was wearing this today, I got a lot of floral touches, like not like a big jasmine in your face floral, but like mixed with that citrusy green. You know, you mentioned tarragon rich. I mentioned galbanum. It definitely, I think, is this is like a classy fragrance. This is like you know, go out for a night on the town and you wanted to wear something that's elegant and classy and, you know, distinguished. Those are kind of the words that come to mind when I was wearing this today. Obviously, I'm wearing it with a t-shirt, actually a dinosaur t-shirt. But yeah, there's a little bit of like this juniper. You know how juniper gives this freshness in the opening. There's a little bit of that freshness, but the ambergris, like you said, Rich, this is, I don't think they could do this today with the level of ingredients. I don't think they would be able to pull it off. It's, as soon as I heard you talking about how good it was, I was like, this is going to be good. And sure enough,
it's like a freshie for grown-ups.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
that's a great way to put it.
It predates a lot of those late 80s, early 90s where you saw things start to change. It predates all of that. Estee Lauder was maybe ahead of its time, really. Like, here's a freshie and here's how it's done right. And then everybody else came in and said, nah, we could do it cheaper with cologne.
It fell between eras, didn't it? It wasn't vintage enough to be. It wasn't like a Polo. It wasn't a Chorus. It wasn't an Antaeus. But it wasn't a Cool Water. It wasn't an Acqua di Gio. It wasn't a Polo Sport. It wasn't a. It was sort of. It's sort of like, you know, like a trapeze artist, like mistiming the jump. You know, it just sort of didn't register. If you read the stories about it online, then it literally didn't get anywhere near the target. It was a failure immediately, and it's very hard to find now.
Yes.
I don't know how long it was. I don't know how long it was in production. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was like gone within 2 or 3 years. I don't know what size bottles they made, because the only bottles I've ever been able to find were 50 mils.
Yep.
But to me, the standard of the ingredients, I don't know if it's real ambergris, but the use of the ambergris in here is one of the best that I have smelled. It's got that kind of vintage creed vibe, you know.
Yes,
It's got the sandal. It's got the sandalwood and the ambergris in the base. And when sandalwood and ambergris are used together, you think Green Valley. You think things like Himalaya. Think things like I don't know if Green Irish Tweed had ambergris and sandalwood, but I feel like it did.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of fizz, lively but creamy kind of thing going on, you know.
It is perfect for this time of year too. Like, you go outside, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's a spring day. The birds are like gathering up twigs for their nests, and you know, the trees are budding, and it fits that picture of a day just perfect, you know.
Perfect spring fragrance. And a lot of those, it's talking about that little vortex of time between like 87 and 92. You go and dig into that time period, there's so many good fragrances, that houses that have it, like the death rattle of a lot of houses trying to hold on to the integrity of fragrances before everything changed to completely, you know, cologne and all of those mass appealing things. Like, it feels like after 93, they like, maybe 94, they like gave up and were like, all right, we'll just do cologne. You know, we'll just do what everybody likes. But,
it was irresistible. It was like an irresistible wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and like your Balenciaga was kind of the death rattle for, you know, heavy hitters.
Yeah.
You know, Estee Lauder, though, as a house, honestly, I don't think I've ever purchased an Estee Lauder that has let me down. I mean, you could go back to stuff like Youth Dew, right? This was supposed to be a bath oil initially. If you like opium, oh my God. So if you like opium, I would highly, highly encourage you to check out Youth Dew. Youth Dew is fantastic, and Josephine Catapano made it. You can feel her fingerprints. It's just, you know, and some people are like, oh, it's a grandma fragrance. Absolutely not. Between Youth Dew and, I know I've rattled on about this, but Azuree, which is one of my favorite leather Chypres of all time.
That particular bottle you have is fantastic.
They do not let you down. That's the thing. I mean, even this, which is a new acquisition of mine, I'm in love with this for spring. Private Collection. Pure fragrance spray.
How is it? I've been looking at that.
It's one of the best green fragrances I've ever smelled.
And knowing?
Green.
Do we say knowing?
Honestly, I mean, I would put this up there with number 19.
Really?
It's that good for me. So Estee Lauder, I mean, and then that's not even talking about their Aramis line, right? They had all of those Aramis fragrances out. So Estee Lauder is just, I mean, I think they're underrated. And I'm pretty sure that rumor is that this is also discontinued, the original Lauder for Men from 1985. I think the rumor is that they're going to sell off the bottles that they have, because I think you can still go to Estee Lauder and buy this, but I don't think they're making any more. I think it's done.
It's an absolute crime what they're doing to the House of Aramis.
That's right.
Yeah, they've discontinued the Gentleman's Collection, haven't they?
I've been on a rampage to get everything from that collection. Old or new, I'll take whatever.
And these new bottles are still great. That's the thing, is you can still get these in, you know, I think I paid like $30 for this or something. It's a no-brainer. That's it. Devin.
I have the older one as well, but side by side, they're nearly 1-to-1. I'd say the older one is just a touch more of a growl.
Interesting.
Touch more of the base and the growl and some of those, you know, some of those materials that aren't present in the new one. But otherwise, they got it close. They got it really, really close. Aramis is one of those houses that takes care of the reforms.
They do. Yeah, I can't believe they're going to axe that whole collection. Are they selling it or are they just axing it?
I hear they're axing it and they're keeping Aramis, the flagship.
The main one.
That's it.
This one, the first one from the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're right. Crime. They should be tried. Send them to the Hague.
I've been trying like hell just to grab everything. 900 JHL, Devin. I've got the New West. I've got I'm trying to get all of those flankers as well, like some of the odd ones like Black and Cool and Adventurer, and some of those odd flankers. I'm trying to get a hold of all of that stuff before prices get silly. And now that I've said it, you know, people are going to start looking at that. I shouldn't have said anything.
Brett wants to know what your coffee cup of the day is, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Stone Wolf.
Ooh. Stone Wolf.
Well, I don't know. That's what I call it. It's kind of cool, yeah?
Yeah.
It is kind of cool.
I always thought like Stone Wolf would be a great name for a rock band. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Rich needs to start doing a teacup of the day.
Yeah.
My cup is always the same. And it is the Mega Mug. It's always the same. And it's my hydration. Rarely do I drink tea out of this big cup because that's a lot of tea. But it just means I have to refill my cup less often since I've got such a big one. You know what I mean?
That's right. Before we talk about other vintages, which I'm sure there's a lot of vintage questions that the chat has for us, is there any fragrances that you would say Metropolis reminds you of? Like, did you get any sparks when you were smelling Metropolis?
Green Valley.
Thinking about that.
Green Valley. I got because I've smelled Green Valley.
Never smelled it.
Oh God, if I could find a bottle of that.
Oh, I'm with you. I found it. The guy wanted $1,000. I told him to F off.
Yeah, it's disgusting. That it's not worth $1,000. No. But Green Valley and Lauder for Men are the two that I would say that this reminds me most of. It's got a pineapple note in, which is noticeable, but then isn't dominating, and it's like a juicy fruity kind of thing, like fresh squeezed pineapple. You know, it's got that freshness to it given to it by like the ambergris and the geranium and the mint, but it's also got this kind of richness, you know. But it's none of it's overbearing at all. It's absolutely
right. The pineapple's
beautiful.
Not overt.
Yes.
It's well blended.
Yes, that's right. I see Robes is in the chat. Robes has got a decanter of Green Valley. I remember that at the time.
Jealous.
I remember that video at the time. He said the three-headed monster: Green Irish Tweed, Green Valley, and Selection Vert.
Which I haven't been of, and that's I don't know about Selection Vert, man. I would probably take, my guess is I would probably take Green Valley and GIT over Selection Vert. Selection Vert is very much like, to me, it is very much like Jacques Fat Green Water. Very
okay.
Much. It's Creed does Jacques Fat Green Water, and I'd rather just wear this, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I want that green water one of these days.
The fragrance,
that particular bottle,
the most neroli ever used.
Neroli. What'd you say? It was like 80% neroli.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's only like 5 or something, but I think that does it. Neroli is such an expensive ingredient that's all you need. How about you, Jonathan? Did you get did Lauder Metropolis remind you of anything?
I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days, and The only thing that I get, I get. Do we know who perfumed this?
Pierre
I
Want to
Wagner.
talk about that? Is it
I think
Pierre
it's Pierre
Wagner?
Wagner.
Would anybody be
Well, it is.
surprised if Pierre Bourdon helped with this?
No, it wouldn't be a surprise, but it was Pierre Wagner.
Right, but it has touches of other things that he's done, and other things like obscure stuff. Not I'm not talking about Koros or whatever. It has touches of other things he's done. It seems like to me, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I have one fragrance, and I don't know if I could sort it out right now, but I don't know if you guys remember me talking about Ghost Man.
Yes.
Did I tell you about that?
Early
And
2000s, yeah.
early 2000s. It's a Pierre Bourdon. And if you're familiar with Histoire de Parfums, it kind of gives me the sense that it would fit into this is not a blue bottle line. That's where it kind of feels like it would fit. Where it's like kind of fresher up top with like a tonka bean base. And that's the closest thing that, and it's got a little bit of the fruity top, like the pineapple Pierre Bourdon keeps playing with. But yeah, that's the closest I've come to thinking that it smells like something else. I think it's pretty unique.
I think it's pretty unique too. You know what it reminded me of though? Like just a little bit. And this is might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think they're in the same category. It was a little bit like Coriolan, because Coriolan had this citrus masculine Chypre thing going on with that lemony, citrusy freshness. The difference is this uses a lot of Neroli and Petit Grain, and I don't think you get any of that here. You get more like of the pineapple and mint, but they both dry down to kind of this masculine citrusy, Chypre thing, and they both have a little bit of a base. And what's interesting about it is Jean-Paul Guerlain started working on Coriolan in the 80s. At the same time he was working on Derby, he was working on Coriolan. So it would make sense that there's a little bit of a connection between an 87 fragrance and something that got released in the late 90s, but was actually kind of worked on in the 80s by Jean-Paul Guerlain.
That's the Lame Duneros, right?
Yes, this basically turned into Lame Duneros. Yep.
That's a good shout. That's a really good shout.
I'm just going to pop to the bathroom. I'll be 2 minutes.
Minus the mint, obviously.
Yeah. They go about it. It's kind of like they go about it different ways, but they meet, on the same path.
That's a really good shout. Wow.
This was also a huge flop. This was a gigantic flop. I don't even think this lasted a year. A year or two, they took it off the shelves. That was it.
Crazy.
Yes.
I don't know how that is compared to this, but I really like this.
Yes.
I really like this. You can see the dent I put in it. It's a great spring fragrance.
Great spring fragrance, right? JT says New West is supposedly the first perfume to use cologne. I don't think that's true, JT. I thought that Edmund Rudnitska used it in like the 50s and 60s when he made that fragrance for his wife that Frederick Malle ended up releasing called Le Parfum de Therese.
Didn't Pierre Bourdon use it in Cool Water?
Yeah, Cool Water was 87. Same year as New West, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it's the year it blew up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the late 80s for sure.
Can't think of, I don't know. That might be I don't know. I have to look into that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Rudnitska used it. Rudnitska was so far ahead of the curve. He was like decades ahead of everyone else. That's the thing is, now to be fair, I don't think they released Le Parfum de Therese to the public until the year 2000 when Malle did his brand, when he first put out his brand. but originally that fragrance was a bespoke fragrance for his wife.
Such a good fragrance.
Fantastic.
Such a good fragrance. I would love to have a bottle of that.
Yes. Try to find one before Estee Lauder got their bean counters in.
Right.
H2O says vintage hat trick time. That's right. Holosaurus guy. He loves you, Jonathan.
Babu.
The knowledge on this panel is beautiful. Do you want to join, Robes? You want me to drop the link?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Leave a comment if you want to join. I'll drop the link in the chat, brother. You're more than welcome.
That would be awesome. I'm a big fan of Robes.
Oh, yeah. Anuj is in Florida? What are you doing down there, Anuj? Soaking up some sun.
Love Florida. Soak it up, Anuj.
That's it. That's it. Living the dream. Are there any other vintage fragrances that you've been playing around with lately, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, I it's not new to anybody, but it's new to me over the last month. Opium Pour Homme. I've been ripping through this bottle. And it's exactly my cup of tea. It's black currant, and that star anise black currant in the opening. It's got to be one of the best openings I've come across in a long time. And it's got that spice, that galanga or whatever it's called in the mid. I got to sort out the eau de parfum of that. Not an easy get, though.
No, not an easy get. I've got a bottle coming from Poland, but it's going to be a while.
Of the EDP?
Yes.
Lucky bastard.
But it's not going to be here for another couple months.
Wow. I mean, there's bottles out there, but they're big ticket, big ticket.
Pat Lester said that for some strange reason I use Lauder for men while gardening.
While gardening?
Dry green.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an outdoor scent for sure.
Yeah, I've been getting into the dry green thing. Galbanum. I've been on a galbanum kick for the last few months. Anything with galbanum, like this one.
Oh yeah, I mean,
in space and the Aramis by the that I just showed. This has great galbanum in it.
Yes,
a great galbanum.
Yeah, somebody left a comment talking about Aaron Terrence Hughes and how some of the Aaron Terrence Hughes fanboys got all upset at me for what I said. And he said something interesting. He was like, do you remember how you kind of defended Eugene? And I was thinking, I know what he meant. I know what he was trying to say. But the difference is that I was defending Eugene's fragrances. I wasn't necessarily defending Eugene. I mean, he's a big boy. He can defend himself. But I was defending Eugene's fragrances. I can't defend Aaron Terrence Hughes fragrances. They were shite. But Eugene's stuff, that trio of release that he and Antoine Lee did, for vintage lovers, I think it's like some of the best new stuff you can just go buy. My 2 cents.
I just don't. We talked about it before. I just don't understand why there can't be adult discourse and genuine critiquing of things and opinion sharing, and why it needs to be taken so personally. Like, I mean, unless you're making a direct out and out personal attack, if you're just talking about a fragrance,
yeah,
how do you get your underwear in a twist over, like, I don't like this fragrance?
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, when did things get so hypersensitive that you can't, I mean, don't you want contrasting opinions and don't you want critical thinking out of the people you're associating with so that you can get a better sense of what it is you do or don't like?
If you're a true artist, yes,
right.
That's exactly what Russian Adam said one day, and I really respect him for that. He said, actually, the fact that everyone loves everything on the internet nowadays is a hindrance to an artist that wants to do better because you're not getting any real feedback on what you're creating. He's like, we need people to take the other side, you know what I mean? And tell us when
people
something
are afraid to they're afraid to say, hey, this is a good fragrance, but or, you know, hey, this is a good fragrance, not for me, or, you know, I like what he did in this part of the fragrance, but the other part of the fragrance, with my experience in oud, you know, just doesn't impress me, or whatever. Great bottles, great, you know, good on him for starting his own brand. I think it's all congratulations worthy. But if you don't like the fragrance and you critique it, how does that turn into, you know, us and them? You know what I mean? Like, how does it turn into an attack on somebody's person? I watched that stream back and I didn't see any personal attack on your part.
Yeah, they're just sensitive.
But, yeah.
Rich,
Yeah,
are you back?
I am. I've been back a while. I'm trying to find out, right, how to decipher Estee Lauder batch codes, because on my Metropolis, right, there is a 3-digit batch code. It's AA5, and on my Lauder for Men, right,
on the bottle,
there is a 5-digit batch code, and I do not know what the law is.
what do you have on Metropolis?
AA5. Alpha 5.
On the bottom of the bottle.
Yep.
I have 4 digits.
Yeah, I've got 4 digits on mine.
I've got A4.
That's strange, because I have another bottle of Lauder for Men, right, that has a 5-digit batch code.
Wow.
Well,
I have A48A.
A48A. Let's have a look, shall we?
I've got BA78.
So, Jonathan, yours is in 1988. And what was yours, Ramsey?
BA78.
BA78.
Sorry, 7B.
7B. BA7B. Ramsey, yours is a 1987.
Well, all right.
Mine is a 1995 or a 1985. So I think that must be a mistake.
Well, it came out in 87, so it can't be an 85.
Exactly.
This is the one going to Rich, but there's no indication on the box of a batch code.
Yeah, it's on the bottle.
It's on the bottle, and this is sealed, so I don't want to open this up.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's no problem.
But I would think they're all 3 from the same, you know.
The same time period.
Right. Yours is.
Yeah.
So, what do you think it ran for? 3 years, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, if that. Apparently, it was gone by 91.
So yeah, 2.5 years. Well, and those batch codes indicate the year it's going into, right? Don't they make them and bottle them and have them ready the year before?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I do know that the original Lauder for Men had a gold cap instead of a green one, but yeah, this was completely gold. I would love to have a vintage Lauder for Men. But to be quite honest, this version, just the one you can just go buy, which mine is A49. So it's a 3-digit batch code. It's great. I mean, there's my guess is that there's very little difference with the vintage from what I've heard. I've never smelled it, but I hear that this is a great modern reformulation.
Where do you see the batch code on Lauder?
Top left
of the sticker on the bottom.
Yep.
I don't see it at all.
Yep.
Oh, it's printed in. It's printed in the middle of the writing. The goal.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is 5-3 something or other. Can't really see it that well.
Yeah, if you've got a green cap like this, it's one of the newer ones. But this is one fragrance that actually, if you could say, I'm not a vintage guy, Ramsey. I don't want to go hunt down vintage bottles or formulations. I just want to go buy what they have that's available. I could easily recommend this. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys have a vintage of this?
No, I don't. I have the
Which
one you
of
have.
which fragrance? Sorry.
Lauder for Men from '85.
Yeah, mine's been. I've got 2 vintage.
We'll have to find out when they switch to the black cap, because this one feels a little bit old. This doesn't feel like it's super modern.
Look on the bottom of the bottle, right, and on the label, you will be able to see at the bottom of the label, the last things on the label, has it got EsteeLauderForMen.com?
No.
That is pre-2000s.
Excellent. It says copyright Estee Lauder distribution. Then it has New York, New York, London, made in UK.
Mine doesn't have made in anywhere. Mine doesn't have made in anywhere.
Does yours say cologne spray?
Yes, it does. Eau de cologne spray.
Yeah. Even mine that has the EsteeLauder.com says cologne spray.
Yeah. Give us 2 seconds. I'm going to go and get my other bottle out of the cupboard.
Do it.
Yours has the .com, Ramsey?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. I don't know how I stumbled onto this one. I guess did I get this from the news?
The deep vintage has this instead of just being gold on top, it's completely gold.
Right. I've seen them.
Completely gold.
They're pricey too.
Yes. And maybe not even worth it. I mean, because the modern stuff is so good.
I'm not gonna go after it.
Do you get a lot of oak moss in these two, Jonathan? Metropolis and Lauder for Men.
More in Lauder for Men than certainly.
Yeah.
I don't know to what degree, if Rich is saying this is pre-2000. I don't know to what degree, but it smells like oak moss. JT
just said he ordered a bottle of Cinnabar. Congratulations. That is on my list. I want a vintage bottle that bad.
That is, I smelled some of that, the modern version in the shop, and it's actually still very good.
Really?
And it's got a very 70s ladies feel about it, which, as we know, means that it's probably more masculine than anything that's been released in the last 10 years.
Right.
I've smelled the vintage Cinnabar, and it's incredible.
Have you smelled the new one?
No, I don't believe I have.
Okay.
I've smelled the older one, and I think I've smelled the bath oil for the older one too. And they're fantastic.
I don't know if you can. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. But these are both. Well, this one is made in the UK. I think this one's made in the UK as well, but I've got the box for this one. The difference in color, right? The difference in color is stark. Yeah. One is like, that is not just the light that is doing that, you can see.
Right.
Like, they are different colors, and you would expect that one to have changed more because it's been used more. But that one's darker, like considerably. It's made in the UK. Eau de cologne spray, atomizer, naturel. Estee Lauder distributing New York, London, Paris, Milano, made in the UK, 1816. I don't know what 1816 means. And then it's got a long form. It's got a long form. I think it's EN67E. Give us a second. We'll see if we can figure out what that is. So Lauder for Men came out in 85, did it not?
Correct.
Yes.
Right. So we will batch code and then check fresh. EN67E 67E 1986.
I think the deep vintage though had a gold cap, Richards.
I was going to say it's either 1986 or 1996.
Yeah.
I think this one's 1996. Interesting. Smells gorgeous. Let me go and put this back. I'll be 2 seconds.
Robe says, I sleep with my Green Valley bottle, just holding on to my baby, making sure she's okay. You lucky dog, you.
Not an easy get, that one.
No, I've been hunting Green Valley for years. And to be quite frank, I'm terrified to buy one because of how fast creeds turn. I've never run into a brand that I've had so many issues with their fragrances turning so quickly.
I have older creeds, and they're all, I guess I'm lucky, they're all in very good shape.
Yeah, I got one from Anouge, and you know Anouge stores everything perfect, right? It was actually this one. I'll show you. It was
Millesime?
No, it was Silver Mountain Water. And
yeah.
Anouge told me that him and his old man, and you can see here, let me blow this up. Him and his old man purchased them around the turn of around 2000, I guess. And you can see the short ingredient list right there.
Yeah.
And I got this and took one. I mean, before I even sprayed it, I could smell it from the nozzle. And you know, he stores all of his stuff impeccably.
Yeah. Well, it's all volatile notes, right? A lot of citrus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unbelievable.
But I mean, the bottle's still beautiful. But if you can wait about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, it gets bearable. But the opening is paint thinner.
Yeah, it just irks you. Even stuff that I have that's turned just a little bit at the top, I'll put them on and enjoy them like as a testing thing. But it irks me when something's off. Totally irks me. Got to have the right one.
Yeah.
Euro Rose says he's eating some Nashville hot chicken. Yeah, buddy. Did you have fun hanging out with Euro, Duck?
Yes, it was great. We had a very good time. It was very positive. It was very happy. We went and saw some history. We went and smelled some stuff. I was absolutely knackered. After they came and would been around and seen stuff. Did a couple of live streams, very short ones. Brought out the face, showed my beak on stream, and it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
You said again. You smelled some stuff with him, right? You smelled the new diptyque.
Yes, Le Papier. It's crazy. It's got a genuine steamed rice note. That genuinely smells like rice on a plate. It's like I'd go so far as to say it was a gourmand, and it literally smells like boiled rice on a plate.
I don't know if I'd want to smell like that.
It's strange though. It's got this kind of it's all different aspects of whiteness, you know, all different aspects. It's got this kind of papery. It's got this kind of paperiness in the dry down. It's much more interesting than Eau de Month and some of the more recent diptyques that have been released. You know, I don't think I'm going to buy it. I don't think I'm going to wear it.
Right.
But I enjoy the idea of it. Do you know what I mean?
For some reason, I'm very drawn to paper or papyrus notes. I just find them so interesting. I don't know why. It just tickles me. There's a bunch of fragrances that have that papyrus kind of, even, do you guys get, I think I'm the only one, and I've said this a couple times, but in Homme, do you guys get a papery note in the mid, like a papyrus kind of a vibe, or is it just me? Do you not see it?
I actually don't have a bottle. I only have a sample that Eugene sent me, but from memory, no. I remember a little bit of a salty vibe in the mid. Do you get the salty vibe?
Yeah, I get that. It's not, I mean, there's no sweetness to be found here, but I get for some reason this paper vibe or papyrus or very dry.
I get what you're saying. I get this feeling. It's like you couldn't put a note to it.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, but I get this ultra dry paper kind of a vibe. I don't know. I like it. I wore it the other night. It's very good.
I've got that put away for autumn and winter.
You think that's an autumn and winter?
Balm.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah, it's quite thick. Yeah, it's quite thick and cloudy.
I bet you it would work in the spring and summer.
I bet it would work in the spring. I'd struggle with it in the summer.
Yeah,
I'd struggle with it in the summer.
Robes is
saying he's checking our backgrounds to see what bottles
lurking in the background.
Look at Jonathan's layout.
Yeah, Jonathan's layout's outrageous.
We need a spotlight in there.
Yeah, I'll put some lights in the back interior of this this case, and it'll show it up better because this is like real deep. There's shit tons of fragrances in there. That's the one you can see the best.
Yes,
and it goes down too. There's like a shelf down the bottom that you can't see, kind of.
Let's catch up on these comments.
Yes.
Joe says between them, we probably have all of the vintage rags ever.
Quite a few.
Enrique's thinking of getting Bracken Man. I will tell you, if you're thinking about getting Bracken Man, let me see if I can grab my bottle. If you're thinking about getting Bracken Man, Enrique, just make sure that you really love, and I mean love, clove, because it is a huge clove. It's a fantastic aromatic fougere. Honestly, I think it's one of the best modern fougères that I've smelled. Most of the fougères that I love are from the old days, you know. You go back to like Gucci Nobile or stuff like that. But this,
it's great.
This is a well-done modern fougere. I would actually put this and maybe even Rogue's Bon Monsieur as my two favorite like modern fougères. But it's got a huge clove opening, gigantic.
Are you getting the same? Are you getting the clove that's in Metropolis?
No, I don't get very much clove from Metropolis.
There's something in Metropolis that's twisting it just a bit.
Yeah,
you said clove, but I don't think it's. Is there clove in the note breakdown?
Not on Parfumo. Parfumo says green notes, which I think are the is that galbanum and tarragon, and fresh notes, which I'm guessing is part of the ambergris. And then peppermint, which I definitely get the peppermint. Lavender, absolutely. Clary sage, geranium and carnation in the heart. Base of amber, patchouli, vetiver, leather, and musk. So it could be the clary sage. You know, clary sage gives off this sort of dry, sweaty type feel, I think.
Okay, see here in Fragrantica, it does list clove.
Yeah, Fragrantica does. Parfumo doesn't.
And wormwood.
Ah, okay.
Wormwood, doesn't that give that kind of mentholated, kind of goes along with the peppermint?
Yeah, sort of this
like a
Artemisia feel. It's a type of Artemisia, isn't it?
Right. And it gives off like a medicinal kind of a thing. Goes along with the cinnamon and the mint. This is a great fragrance.
It is.
Really great. And the ambergris, Rich is right, whether it's real or not, is phenomenal. to what degree they've used ambergris here, I don't know. But when you get into that dry down, boy, it's nice. But to whoever that was, Bracken Man's good. I think Bracken Man's really good.
Rich, have you smelled Bracken?
I don't know. I don't think so. I've smelled. I think Sunshine was like one of the like last releases from them that I smelled.
I've been on a Amouage rampage lately.
Yeah.
The one I've been two I've been smitten with, but this is one of them.
Oh yeah, Portrayal is fantastic.
So good, and I have believe it or not, I have the woman's version.
Yes, that's an Anique Monardo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I like the women's version very much, but I did not know. I would have gotten this a long time ago if I'd have known how good it was.
Yes.
It's very freaking good. Very good.
Yeah, the house is they're lost though. They're lost without a compass.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to go after some of the older stuff.
Yeah.
This one I like too.
Oh yeah.
I've got a horrible feeling that Jubilation 40 is just going to be Jubilation 20, like the vintage Jubilation 25.
Yep. That's what they did.
It's just going to be. I mean, I can't imagine how thick. I mean, Jubilation's meant to be like a thick the vintage one anyway. It's meant to be thick anyway.
It's thick on its own. So yeah, they basically watered down. Yeah, you've got the good one. Yeah. Well, this is a good one too, but you've got the deep vintage. Very hard to find.
So good. There's a skankiness to this that's it's very nice.
Yep. What
skanky.
So I think we're all kind of, there are some people that focus on vintage and some people that focus on niche, but I think all three of us kind of go everywhere. Like we try indie, we try niche, we try designers, we try vintage. But I think my heart is really with vintage. I feel like you guys, not speaking for you, but I feel like from what I know about you, it's the same. Was there like a moment where you were like, man, I think I'm like a vintage guy? Like when did that happen for you?
Well, unlike you two, I'm a few years older. So I grew up with this stuff. I mean, Polo, Corum, Aramis, Old Spice, Brut. My dad wore, all that stuff was my childhood. All that stuff was Paco Rabanne. All that stuff was, late 70s, early 80s when I, was turning into a teenager, and, all that. Polo it just brings me right back to, the early 80s. It came out in 78, but when I got my nose on it, Corum, Aramis, what else? Halston Z14, all those fragrances are my childhood, So I've always leaned towards vintage, but I'm not opposed to anything modern. I'm not opposed to luxury designer or niche or indie or, experimental stuff. Like I like it all. Good fragrance is good fragrance, and I don't necessarily have to, I don't necessarily, care if I'm the only one that likes something. If I like it, I like it. I don't give a shit. I don't, I do like the same stuff everybody else likes, of course, but I have stuff that I love that nobody's ever heard of. Like that Pomerado Uomo. There's only a couple people around that even know what that is. And that stuff is phenomenal. Like the Blend 30. When I ran into Blend 30, I was just like, oh my God, I'd never heard of it. What's the other one? What's the other one? The Nino Cerruti Pour Homme. That stuff is, if you put that in an Amouage bottle, be one of the best of the house. Not joking. That Nino Cerruti Pour Homme from 79 is just, it may be I keep going back and forth. It's definitely at the top of my top 10. Safe to say.
Yes. Did you have that moment, Rich? Did you like, because I know you also did a lot of, designers and stuff early on, but did you like have a moment where you can remember where you're like, that's it, I'm just a vintage guy. It just is what it is.
So my sort of moment that I remember, not necessarily about vintage, but it leads on to that, was Amber Sultan by Serge Lutton. And I didn't know that fragrances could be like that, be that way. And Amber Sultan's very thick and rich and dense. And it put me onto like this kind of mode of thinking that I like denser, richer, thicker stuff, you know. Amber Sultan harkens back to old, like, quote-unquote, Oriental fragrances. And those were a lot more popular, like, years ago, decades ago, you know. I think that opened the door. And then I got, what was it? What was my, like, first proper vintage fragrance? I think I bought Smalto Pour Homme by Smalto, bloody hell. I bought Smalto Pour Homme by Smalto from Chris from Scentland. And that was like, I don't know if that was a turning point, but it was definitely something that accelerated me down the road towards liking older fragrances. But I had noticed previously, but I'd never joined the dots, how fragrances changed. So I used to wear Polo Sport when I was at school.
Yes.
And I went to smell it, right? I went to smell it years later and noticed it was totally different, right? And I thought, what the hell's happened there? Found out about reformulation, how it had changed, and that this happened regularly, right? So that was like another sort of step in that direction towards things used to be better than they are now. You know, I don't know if there was like one moment where I thought to myself, I like vintage fragrances. It sort of just built up and was like positively reinforced over time.
Putting the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just step after step. And I've had a couple of wobbles where, like we were talking about earlier, that some fragrances you'll buy a vintage and it'll be off, or the smell will have gone, and you'd be like, pain. But one of the major steps was I bought a 30ml bottle of Balenciaga Pour Homme off of Scentland again. And obviously, I just fucking loved that. I'd seen Fragrance Matt talk about it. He reviewed it twice, which is highly unusual. You don't see reviewers review things twice. And he loved it. I've really, like him, Fragrance Matt and Scentland are probably a lot of responsibility as far as liking vintage fragrances are concerned. I used to watch lots of Fragrance Matt, and he liked vintage fragrances. Scentland likes vintage fragrances. I like them, certainly, the old school ones. And I was intrigued. I've always been like that. I've always liked old stuff, you know. So it's sort of like it was nature and nurture. So I I'm predisposed to liking vintage things anyway. And then I sort of have come to the realization that my taste is much more geared towards the way fragrances were than the way they are. I am much more excited to find a long lost fragrance like Metropolis than I am to smell the new Francis Coeur de Jean. Oh, you know,
1000%.
Absolutely.
That is just the way I am. And then it's nice to, because it's a sub community. You know, it's like a very small niche thing. You get really tight with the people who are like I talk to you two every day. Like the same way I talk to like Eugene Galen and Thomas everywhere. Like we speak every day, you know. I would feel like something was missing if I didn't like speak to you. Do you know what I mean? And like you become very tight when you've got this very. I don't want to say it's not a narrow interest because there's a whole world out there that we're discovering, but it's like when you've got this very particular interest that you share with other people. Like we haven't got like us. Our tastes overlap to a large extent, but there's also these other little bits that we've got that are individual to us as well. You know, like I'll like some stuff, and like Rams, you'll be like, "Oh, no, how could you possibly?" And then like Jonathan will like some stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh no," you know what I mean? And then like I'll like some stuff, and Jonathan will be like, "Oh, get away from us, you strange man." Do you know what I mean? It's the similarities and the differences that make it interesting, you know, and keep it fresh. And as long as you've got like respect for each other, and like, you know, you're not dealing with like dickheads and idiots and stuff like that. You, like the fun you can have with it, the experience you can have with it, like the shared goals and the sense of like a mission, because it's very hard to find vintage fragrances now, you know, like it's those Metropolis.
That's a part of the game too, the hunt.
It's a hobby, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It's a massive part of it, and then you've got people helping you as well. You know, it's like I imagine like 10,000 years ago, some caveman being like caribou over there, and nobody wanted to eat caribou apart from like 2 other people. You know, and so the 3 of you would go out and you would hunt like caribou. You know, whereas everybody else was hunting like ox. You know, it's just weird how people are, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. But to go back to your initial question, I don't think there was one moment where I thought to myself, I am all in on vintage. I think it was like a what is it, like a snowball turning into an avalanche sort of thing. It was definitely one step after the other, and some steps were bigger than others. But I've got so much pleasure out of it, and it's brought us together with lots of different people. It's amazing. It's opened up my worldview and my life, and I've learned loads of stuff and met some great people. You know.
Yeah, I think I've always liked vintage things. Collecting. I've always collected. I've gotten collecting from my parents. You know, my dad has collected everything. Like he has a whole cabinet full of vintage cameras, like vintage guns, vintage knives, model cars, you name it, vintage belt buckles, like all kinds of shit. My mom's collected everything from Hummels to Precious Moments and anything that's you know, an elephant. You know, even my grandmother used to collect stuff. So collecting has always been like it's kind of a cool thing, and I've always liked vintage things. I think it's kind of cool that things still exist. Like I said it the other day, the thing that I have that Anuj sent me, I don't know if I can dig it out, but the that vintage soap that he sent me along with the Adidas. He sent me the vintage shampoo and the vintage soap, and they're both in great condition. And the fact that those things still exist just tickles me. And that's why I like going after all those, you know, odd forgotten flankers and releases that nobody's ever heard of. The fact that they still exist, it just tickles me. I love it.
Do you have other? Just one hobby of yours, Jonathan? Do you do a lot of different things like your parents?
No, but I've gone through phases. Like I used to collect. My dad and I used to collect coins when I was a kid. Coins.
That's a good hobby.
All kinds. Yeah. Of all kinds, not only U.S. currency but world currency, paper, coins, you name it. And then And then from there was comic books, baseball cards, even, you might laugh, but even wrestling magazines for a long time, from the late 60s to the mid 80s. I had thousands of wrestling magazines.
They will be worth a fortune.
Yeah. There's a big box of them upstairs. But yeah, I've gone through phases, and then, you know, like I was telling you guys earlier, when I stopped working, I was like, what am I going to do now? You know, went from being a workaholic to not working. And I was like, I got to do something. And I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube, you know, looking for a review of something. And I was like, there's people that talk about this shit. There's a whole community of people that do this. And then being a collector already, I was like, oh, this is something I could do. I could start collecting, you know, like we were talking about this, that I got like little collector's pieces like this.
That is cool.
Just so damn cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
The first edition, they're 2 half bottles. Like, you can't beat that kind of stuff. And, you know, you've seen the backgammon set that I have of Paco Rabanne.
Yes.
How awesome is that actually exists? And it's an official Paco Rabanne. It comes with the pamphlet and everything. I have that poker chip set of the Ted Lapidus aftershave and the EDT, the 2 bottles set inside of a wooden box that has poker chips in it. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But that's the kind of stuff I like, you know, collector stuff. So as much as I love fragrance, it's also a good healthy mix of being a collector of whatever, vintage or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what we had to go through to get these bottles.
Yeah, right. Who stumbled onto that? How do we even find
Rich.
that site? Rich? Of course.
Rich finds everything from his perch in England.
It's my perch. That's right. It's the Highlands
Tower.
That's right. I've got the ability of flight because I'm a duck. You know what I mean? So I can peer down
wall.
That's right. That's right. Living on Hadrian's Wall, I'm a hardy duck. You know what I mean? I can peer down.
Very menacing. Hadrian's Wall.
Hadrian's Wall. Well, if you were Scottish, it bloody was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I'll send you the pictures. Like me and Julia Rose went up to a place called Vindolanda. It's like rubble now. It's just like not the foundations, but it's just like the lower bit of the fortress. But they found loads of stuff there. It's incredible.
What was that big ass church that you were in? Where was that at?
Durham Cathedral. One of the first like big cathedrals in the country. It's very, very important. It's got this big black line on the floor that was it's like stone, black stone, and it was no women were allowed past that point in the church. They were like barred from the church. Yeah, it's a very. So what they did is later they actually built backwards and built a ladies' chapel, a ladies' church.
Really?
Yeah, really, really fucking. Well, I mean, fucking awful, really, if you think about it. But la-di-da, I beg your pardon. The way the northeast of England was very important in the foundation of Western Christianity, or certainly European Christianity, like early Christianity. Like you ever heard of Bede? Bede. Bede was a very early Anglo-Saxon Christian chronicler who did a history of Christianity in like 680 something. Like that, very early, and then he was at a place called Lindisfarne.
I've heard of Lindisfarne.
Lindisfarne is near where I live as well. Next time Julia Rose comes over, I'll take him there.
It's where part of the History Channel Viking show is based.
Yes, they came over and they came over and raped and pillaged and plundered.
Yeah, that's a great show. You ever watch that?
I haven't, no. I haven't, but I've definitely got Viking in it. you've seen me face. I definitely have, like, and like me build as well. I'm like 6'2". I definitely got. You can imagine me storming a beach. You know what I mean? Coming up some kind of beach, being like, "Ah,
Right.
gold, sheep."
Right.
You know what I mean? Give us your stuff.
Yeah.
I've got to give a shout. Yes, I've got to give a shout out to Tripler, because this is the truth. Tripler was actually the person who put me onto those Metropolis. He found
nice.
Yes, Tripler was the person who put me onto those Metropolis. So thank you, Tripler.
Yes, thank you.
Good on you. Good on you, Tripler.
Look at the ripple effect.
Should see if he wants to come on stream. Is he a collector?
No, I was saying, look at the ripple effect. Thanks to his find, we wouldn't have had
Yes.
this without him.
I think Tripler should come on if he wants to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leave a comment, Tripler. I'll drop the link. You know, I was reading that Hadrian's Wall wasn't actually meant to keep anyone out. You know what it was for?
Was it to keep people in?
No. It was so they could control the flow of traffic, so they could collect taxes.
That would probably be a good shout.
Because, yeah, the wall was too. It was just they figured they would get reinforcements over if anyone ever tried to invade. It was so people couldn't sneak into the empire without paying their taxes.
Yeah, they had tried to push into Scotland, and the Scots had repelled them multiple times, and they'd like fucked them up. They'd sent a legion up there, and it flat out disappeared. Like an entire legion disappeared, and they decided, right, fuck this. This is where we're going to draw the line, because Hadrian was like he was like the first. He was the first emperor who didn't want to expand the empire. Right. He wanted to consolidate it.
Yeah.
But the problem with walls is that they never work. Like the Chinese built the Great Wall of China, and it never kept any fucker out. You know what I mean? It had and Hadrian's Wall came down eventually. You know, it was good for control, like you say, good for controlling trade and goods. And there's lots of Roman roads where I live, because you can tell, because they're all long and straight, and they're still operational. They still work. You know, like they've just been paved over. Because it was sound. It was all sound engineering and stuff. Like the topography and everything was all like mapped out like perfectly by them. They were like, this is the perfect place to put a road. And then even with modern techniques, they've been like, yes, this is indeed the perfect place to put a road. And they're long and straight. Like I can think there's a place called the Military Road, and there is actually a military barracks on that road to this day. Just because it's just in a brilliant place. You know what I mean?
It's an age-old conundrum, isn't it? No matter how advanced your defense is, somebody will work hard enough to mount a comparable offense.
Yeah. The problem with walls is unless they go on forever, is that you can always go around them. You can go under them. Half the time you can go through them if they're big enough. You know what I mean? It's just people are fucking smarter than walls. It's just you have to think of other ways to stop people. You know, it's unusual that you can't. Well, put it like this: a wall isn't enough. Let's put it like that. A wall isn't enough to like stop people moving around. The Chinese found that with the Great Wall. They had to have a multi-pronged attack and stuff like that, and then the upkeep of the wall becomes a problem. You know, how much are people willing to pay for this shit? And it's as old as time. I'm talking about like the Romans and the fucking thing, because that was the first place they pulled out of was Britain. You know what I mean? It was like, fuck this. Fucking leave them to it. You know what I mean? Bollocks to them. You must be sick. Me and Jura Rose were talking about this as well. You must have been absolutely sick to your stomach if you were a fucking like, because they would take people from the opposite end of the empire to staff their garrisons and stuff and their borders, because they didn't want the local population, like they didn't want like sympathy from the soldiers within for like the local population to get infiltrated. So if you imagine being Syrian and Iraqi, right? Because that's where the soldiers came from to man the Hadrian's Wall. I've got Syrian DNA, right? It's and
Makes
that
sense,
comes
though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It makes perfect sense. But can you imagine how fucking sick you'd be if you came from Syria and you came to the north of England, one of the grimmest places in the entire world, right? And you're just like, how the fuck did this end up happening? You're thinking you're going off to Italy, you're going to the south of France, you know what I mean? Maybe going to North Africa. No, you're coming to fucking Newcastle where it rains 340 days of the year.
It's like getting a military post into North Pole or Siberia or something.
Yes, exactly. Absolute nightmare.
Terrible. And that was the edge of the known world, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. The edge of the known world. After that, knowledge ran out. Apparently they knew about Iceland, but nobody particularly wanted to go there.
That show Vikings does a good job of chronicling how the Vikings, first went to England, then to Iceland and Greenland, and then finally happened on the
Canada and yeah. Leif. What was it? Leif Erikson.
That's right.
Leif Erikson.
All that nonsense about Christopher Columbus is just silly. People have been coming to the Americas forever, Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, the Mongolians did it even further back.
Yes. Tripler says he just backed up Pomerado from Keith, Jonathan.
It's brilliant. Good call. I'm seriously considering getting another bottle, but
I got a bottle coming from Keith, actually. His supply is endless.
I've got two bigger bottles, and then I have the 50 mil around here. Some of that I just got from Keith.
I've got Fair Play coming. I've got Pomerado, and I've got I bet you it'll be here on Monday. I've got a bottle of Fair Play.
It's very good.
It is good, right?
Very good. Very good. This Nino Cerruti, what they were doing at the start of their house, they were doing big things. I mean, the house kind of, I've smelled some of the later stuff of the Cerruti. Like I have the, what is it? What is this one? I got this on a recommendation. There's a guy, Rafi. You guys know Rafi? Rafi Duran. He's got a channel. He's in Australia, I think. He's got a good channel, actually. He's got great production quality and everything. But he raved about this one, and I think this is more a nostalgia thing for him because I got it, and it's okay. It's okay. And he even said that. He was like, it's a nostalgia thing for me. He said you might not like it, but it's okay. Cool bottle though. Cool atomizer. Yeah.
Is that a vintage?
I don't know. I mean, it was early 2000s, I think. Cerruti Image came out, right? I mean, it's got a pretty long ingredients list. So
I think once I get Fair Play, I think I'm pretty much done with. I don't. The new Cerrutis don't really move me very much.
No, I have the 1881 that everybody raves about, but for me, I think it's okay.
It's okay. I'm with you.
It's okay. I mean, I wouldn't. I guess it's a nostalgia thing for other people too that love that 1881, but I can't find the extraordinary that they talk about in 1881. But I mean, it's cool to have, Can't all be the Super Bowl. Every game can't be the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's true. I am currently smelling Geranium Pour Monsieur. I'm trying to find any sort of similarity between Pour Monsieur and Geranium Pour Monsieur and Lauder for Men. And Lauder Metropolis, I beg your pardon. I don't think I can find one.
I would love a vintage Geranium Pour Monsieur.
Yes. I imagine that shit is fire.
Yeah.
Are they comparable?
I don't know. I've never smelled a vintage. I only have the new one.
Yeah, I've only got the latest one. I absolutely love it, to be honest.
This will be coming up in a future haul, but speaking of that house.
Yes. I found a pre-Estee Lauder bottle of that.
Yeah, I've got one of those as well. It's amazing.
Yep.
I love it. Michael Rudnitska.
Did you get a vintage?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Let's take a look.
Does it say EDP France Holdings on the bottle?
It's a 2014 bottle. So what does that mean?
Free.
Here it is. This is July 2014. The first fragrance released under Estee Lauder was in 2015.
Yes.
So this should be a pre-Lauder.
Yeah.
Good
find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I very much like this. This is good.
What do you guys think about? Because that's an Estee Lauder. Of course, we were just mentioning this, but how do you think Estee Lauder has handled some of the houses like Mall? We were talking about what they did in the past, but how do you think they've kind of, handled the big niche houses like Frederick Mall?
I mean, the newer stuff's shite.
I don't think I have any newer.
I don't
have any newer. No, I don't think I have any newer. Frederick Mall. The Moon. I have the Moon, the Night, and that, and I got Dawn not too long ago.
Did you know someone left me a comment saying that he just bought a brand new 10 ml decant of the Moon and the performance on it is terrible?
Really?
Of the most modern release, or?
Well, the Moon,
or
at
whatever.
least my bottle, is one of the biggest fragrances I've ever smelled. It lasts for days.
The Moon is 3 Mile Island.
Yes. He was saying he has to reapply every 5 or 6 hours.
What?
Is he sure he got the Moon?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It is. I'm a fan.
Lovely. It's very nice. I love the Night. I love the Moon. But this one is slowly winning me over.
Which one? Promise?
This is Dawn.
Dawn? Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have a decant of that. I don't have a bottle.
Yeah, it's slowly winning my heart. I mean, I really like... Sorry.
Do you get more incense in that than anything else? I got a lot of incense from Dawn.
Yeah. It's it's so good. Yeah, there's a decent amount of incense in it.
Yeah.
But it's like
Carlos Benaim.
Yes, it is. It's another reason I like it. Creator of Polo.
He's an old man now, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's got to be 100. I mean, he made Polo. I think he was old then.
Yeah, he's probably in his 80s.
Yeah, I would think. He's done quite a few things, Carlos Benaim.
Yeah.
Pardon?
He's done quite a few things, Carlos Benaim.
He did music for a while. He did Icon.
I never liked Icon.
You didn't like Icon. I like it.
No. I bought it, right? But I thought I would get used to it, but it just did nothing. It just did nothing for me, you know. Ramsey is so far behind the chat.
Let's do it. Let's catch up.
Go, go.
Do it.
Go, go, go.
I feel bad if I just run past everyone's comments. Yura says he smelled vintage Bandy and wasn't impressed.
Sure.
Did Jonathan just say his mom collected an elephant, or am I more drunk than I realize?
Yeah, but drink some more. No,
all right,
anything that were elephants, like elephant figurines, and my grandmother used to collect them too, and I guess my mom picked it up.
John, you're gonna sell me that Coromandel EDT? You know, I call dibs on it.
Got a better chance of seeing Jesus.
Tripler says collecting frags has a low barrier to entry. There's some truth to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can enter at any point. You know what I mean? That's like you can buy tubes, you can buy clones, you can buy vintage, you can buy exclusive stuff that costs thousands. You can do anything and everything with it.
Yeah, you don't have to have it. You don't have to, invest tons of money to build a nice little collection. There are shit tons of fragrances out there that are under $50. Modern, older stuff, vintage, especially with some of the stuff that I find, the obscure, weird shit that I get into, like nothing like this one that I showed you earlier. This Carlo Pignatelli man.
Yes, I've never even heard of that.
It was like $45 or something. I mean, granted, it's not like deep vintage, whatever. It's early 2000s, but $45. That's not outrageous. Like, I mean, some of this stuff is outrageously expensive, but yeah, you don't need big money to build a nice little collection at all.
No,
even the surges, even niche, like this surge that I picked up. The reason I picked up a backup is because I found this for $52.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you back up Ombre Sultan, which you were telling a story earlier? I think this is where I started in niche also. First time I smelled Ombre Sultan, I was like, what the holy Christ. I was Ombre Sultan and Santal Royale. I got decants of relatively close together at the same time. And I was just like, went from designer to that. And I was just like, oh my God. It's like, I didn't know they could do this. Duson's a good lad.
Viking film Valhalla Rising is so well done. Never heard of it.
Isn't there a new series called Valhalla? Or it's supposed to be Vikings revisited like a couple hundred years later.
Interesting.
I haven't gotten into that one yet. Wesley?
Dushan's going to be in Grasse tomorrow. In Grasse?
Grasse. Lucky.
The headquarters of perfumery?
Yeah, I'd love to visit Grasse someday.
Should I buy a bottle of Voyageur? Well, this is actually a great example of kind of what Jonathan was hinting at. So I got this bottle for $40 recently. Jean Patou Voyageur. There's Mysore Sandalwood in here. I mean, to your point, you don't have to go spend $1,000 on Patou pour Homme to build a collection. And in fact, a lot of just the stuff that I picked up that were $25, $30, the vintage stuff, it was like, and actually that's one of the reasons why I got into vintage, because I just started randomly going and buying older stuff, because when I started at first, I was only like Creed or Amouage, and if it's not $300 a bottle, it's, I didn't want it. And then once I realized how good some of these actual cheaper designers, or I say cheaper in cost, not cheap in bill.
Right.
Once I realized that in vintage fragrances and the quality of what was out there, it was on for me. Like I just, I went head first.
I've got this in my cart on eBay, $40.
That's it. If you can get
this is my eBay cart.
Do it.
$40.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I have to pick that up soon.
You can't find this is a Jean Carleo. And I mean he's one of my favorite perfumers of all time.
Let me ask you, is that like Versace versus Uomo?
No. It's like imagine like 10-15 minutes in the top of Calonne. Basically the story with this is that the owner of Patou at the time, I think, was a company named Chenille, if I'm not mistaken. And they had been asking Jean Carleo to make an aquatic fragrance because, that was the hit. Everyone wanted it to sell, right? And he refused. He's like, I'm not gonna lower us to those standards. He wanted to make fine French perfumery. So eventually they came to him and they were like, we're not asking anymore. We're telling you, make us an aquatic fragrance. So he made one where the first 10 minutes you get a little bit of Calonne, and then it just goes into like a vintage masculine with sandalwood and oak moss, and that was his final taste.
Right.
I'm out, and then he retired and went to go run the Osmotac.
Oh man, how nice must it be to work there?
He's still there.
What a cool job that must be.
He's still there.
Hello?
That Patou pour homme is the only thing that's eluded me. It's impossible to find.
There's a bottle in England for about 650 quid.
and it's probably not even full.
It is full. It's a tester, but it's full. Yeah, it's a tester, but it's full.
No box, no cap.
If you want, he doesn't ship to the United States, but if you want a bottle, I can get you a bottle and just wait for the opportunity to get it sent over.
I just can't rectify that price. 600. Like there's one on eBay right now that's like there's a little bit missing from the top, no box, no cap, and they want $990 or some shit. Come on.
Don't do it.
On principle, I can't do it. Can't do it.
It's like I want a bottle of that Eagle Derby, but I want it for $5. If I could find a bottle of that Eagle Derby for $500, I would do it.
Well, I've got a 200. I've got a 200 ml one for £800.
That's a deal. That's fair.
That's $1,000.
Yeah,
That's
but it's like
US.
So what that is though the fragrance was in absolutely pristine condition. To be fair, it was in pristine condition.
I don't know. Someday, somewhere, somehow, maybe I don't know. I've got some nice backups. I don't know if I find it somewhere for a trade, maybe with a couple of bucks. Maybe sell off a few things and set the money aside, but I just can't. It's just crazy.
Are there any fragrances on your wish list? Any big hitters other than like the unicorns?
Right now, not really. I mean, over the last 6 months to a year, I've gotten so much stuff in that I really have no business buying anything else right now. But if I have anything on my list, it's those little weird things that, like the Aramis. I'm trying to like backfill the Aramis collection before they get hard to find or the prices go up. And some of the older surges, like the one I was showing you earlier, the 1834, and some of those are still at reasonable prices.
Yeah.
But little stuff like that, just like plugging little holes in the collection.
You know what I want? I can't believe I'm going to say this on a stream because I'll never find it now. I want a bottle of Aramis Portos. Did you know Aramis did a Portos?
I did not.
Yes. So
Interesting.
Balenciaga did a Portos in 83, I think, but Aramis did a Portos in 81. Yeah, that's the Balenciaga. There's an Aramis Portos that was marketed by Estee Lauder, and I want a bottle. It's on my wish list, but I can't find it. It's a
Do we
ghost.
know what Portos means?
Do you? I don't know.
I have no idea.
You would think it means something related to a door or a pathway.
It's apparently, according to Cambridge University, it's a place of shelter for ships, like a safe haven, like a safety or rest spot, a portos.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any like super deep vintage, weird, like crazy stuff that I'm going for right now. Let's look at the cart. I want that cabaret that I showed you, the gray.
From 2004.
Yeah, is that a Pierre Bourdon?
Yes, it is. It's a Pierre Bourdon.
Right?
Someone told me to buy it. Someone in my comments were like, "Dude, buy it and thank me later." They said it was that good.
Yeah, I think Rudy talked about it a while back, if I'm not mistaken.
FCM asks, what's the Patou alternative? I think that this could be a Patou pour homme alternative. Charles Jourdan Un Homme.
Great fragrance.
Yeah.
Great fragrance.
I don't think there's anything on my list, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I have little obscure releases on my list, nothing serious. Like the Atkinson's Ghibli. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Yes.
This.
I have heard of it, but I haven't smelled it.
It's check out the nose listing. It's an interesting looking fragrance. Now that I've said that, I gotta go ahead and buy this before before it disappears.
Yes.
It looks pretty interesting. Pre-barcode.
Monsieur Houbigant is on my list. I'd love a vintage bottle of Monsieur Houbigant.
I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, someone sent me the musk version. Armando sent me this actually, and it's pretty damn good. I need to wear it and talk about it a little bit because this one you can still find.
Let me see that again.
Here, let me blow it up.
Is that Menon? No, Musk. Who is that by? Houbigant?
Houbigant, Monsieur Houbigant Musk.
Huh.
And if you look on the back, it says blended in the USA. So you know this is a little old. I think that this came out. This is probably a 70s bottle, if I'm guessing properly. If you look at the bottom has that weird vintage marking they used to do with the, you know, it almost looks like someone like wrote it on there with chalk. But yeah, this is a good one. But I want the original vintage mark.
Have you heard of Balestra? You've talked about that, right?
Yeah, I've heard of Balestra.
But there's different versions is the problem.
Yeah, so, there's the little squat bottle like
this is the one that I have, and it's different. It's fresher. You know what? It almost smells like you're smelling something like Lauder or Metropolis, or you're smelling something in the realm of like New West. Like there's some freshness here. But when I was reading about the original Balestra, it was like supposed to be an animalic, castoreum, you know, and this is not it at all. I think this is an early 90s like reformulation.
Yeah, that doesn't look like this bottle.
I would love to hunt down the vintage.
This is, I found a vintage gift set with the bottle and a bar of soap, and it's the squat bottle, like the little short square bottle, and it's called Homme.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, here we go. You know what else is on? I've been looking at for the longest time, Bois de Vetiver by Jacques Bogart.
Oh,
Jacques Bogart.
Ah, those old Bogarts are hard to find.
Yeah,
Yes.
very hard to find.
Those are
Bois de
rare.
Vetiver. There's another older Jacques Bogart that I'm looking at too, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, there's, you know what else I was looking at, since that Dunhill Blend 30 turned out to be such a, a dream fragrance.
Yes.
Dunhill has two older fragrances that I've been looking at, and now that I'm on the spot thinking about it, I can't think of the name of them. One of them, they're in a bottle like this. They're in an older bottle like this.
Yes.
And one of
I've
them's
got them on my wish list.
One of them's called Lavender, I think. And the other one is called it's
Burgundy.
Burgundy, yes.
Burgundy's on my wish list. Yeah. That's from 1980.
It's a ghost, dude.
Yeah.
I can't find it
Complete
anywhere.
ghost.
Complete ghost. I've seen the lavender one around, but that the other one is a true ghost.
Yeah. I like hunting stuff like that down.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's called English Lavender.
English Lavender. There you go. It's in a green bottle with yellow lettering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those two are ghosts too.
Rich, you have nothing on your wish list.
it's not. It's not that I don't. It's that I would like a bottle of Green Valley, but I'm not going to find one of them.
Yeah.
I would like a bottle of oh god, I would like a bottle of Quai de Russie by Guerlain. I'm not going to get one of them.
Yes. That's a good shout. I'd split it with you if we could.
I would like more vintage Serge Lutens if I could. Like, you got that haul from that guy in Canada.
My benefactor.
Yes, your benefactor. He doesn't want to be my benefactor as well, does he? He could just send them to a news who could send them on to us. I would only want the vintage ones, though. I wouldn't want any of the new stuff. Did you ever find out what... Sorry, what's that?
Go ahead.
Speaking of Surge, vintage Surge, I picked this one up recently.
What is that?
Fruits. Sorry to cut you off. Bois et Fruits. And it's fantastic. It's like it's kind of in the same vein of Féminité de Bois with the plum and some of those, but it's a little softer.
Nice.
It's really nice. It's really very nice. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rich.
No, it's fine. It's like I don't have this feeling like I want to accumulate anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to de-accumulate, if anything, sell off like lots. So I want to wear more. Like me and Rams have spoke about this loads of times. I want to wear more of the stuff I love and not just the stuff I like. You know. And I find myself wearing the stuff I like the stuff I love less and less, because I'm trying to get through the stuff I like to get to the stuff I love. You know, like it's either I sell it or I either sell the stuff I like, or I wear it to get to the stuff I love. And it's a bit of a pain, because like I'm looking across my collection now, and the stuff that I haven't worn for fucking ages. Although you do go through like peaks and troughs with the stuff you want to buy and wear and stuff, you know. You go through cycles, especially when you've got a big collection.
Everybody goes through those ebbs and flows.
Yeah, I've been pining for Eau Sauvage Parfum. recently. I've been pining for Prada Amber Pour Homme, which I've been wearing a lot of recently. What else? Labs by Filippo Sorcinelli, which you two need to smell those.
I need to sniff that. You know, someone, Armando, in that blind sniffing stream we did, sent me a decant of But Not Today.
Yes.
That is a fantastic fragrance.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I thought you would like that one. That's the story of that one's quite something. It's a fragrance based on Hannibal Lecter, basically.
Right. That's a good neat house, though.
You should definitely get the Filippo Sorcinelli sample set, because you can get what you can do is you can go on the website and you can pick which fragrances you want in the sample set. So you could, in theory, get 6 of the same fragrance. You know, get 6 samples of Labs if you wanted to, but I didn't. I got 5. I got 2 samples of Labs in case I didn't love it, but I did. In case I wanted to wear it and investigate it more. But I think it's probably the best incense fragrance I've smelled
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ever. Wow.
Can't think of another one that's as good as that. It's the Elemi. I'm a massive fan of Elemi. There's Elemi in it. The incense note actually lasts all day, which is very unusual for an incense note. They are very fleeting, usually. Incense Extreme's probably the only other incense that I've had that lasts all day.
Yes, Incense Extreme does last all day.
Yeah.
You see those Nino Cerrutis are going like hotcakes.
People are interested in the Nino Cerrutis. Someone was asking earlier about the Caron Pour Homme, and I heard the interview with the CEO or whatever of Caron saying that it's the same formula they used from 100 years ago or whatever.
Totally bullshit.
I don't.
I have that bottle.
I have the new one, and I'll tell you that this bottle I hate. This one I love. It feels like there's some animalic touches they put in here.
Stark difference. Huge
difference, right?
Yeah, I have that one you have right there, and I had only smelled the modern, and I didn't see the fascination with Pour Homme until I got that black cat bottle, and then I was like, oh, the lavender is unbelievable. It
is one of the best. That lavender vanilla. You don't have to buy the Celine fragrance that tries to copy this for $350. You can just get this for $50. And this is why. So this is a great example of how niche how vintage really kind of stole my heart. When situations like this come up and I smell it for myself with my own nose, I don't need people to tell me. You know what I mean? Like I made the determination that this is superior, and you know it's clear as day to me.
Yeah, I just don't care, because it's all subjective, isn't it? Like there's somebody out there that thinks the modern is just dandy and is exactly like the vintage, and that's fine. Good for you. But it's, for me, there's a stark difference in the quality of lavender from the old to the new. Stark.
I can actually tell you two that I have some perfumes coming my way, but just not yet. I have Santa Maria Novella's Peau d'Espagne. I have a Revlon.
The vintage one. You bastard.
Yes, you bastard. I have the Revlon Concentrate. I have
Pour Homme.
Pour Homme, yes. I have Trophy by. Who's Trophy by?
Trophy Lancôme.
Yes. And I've got a grey as well. Is it Monsieur Grey? Yes.
Homme de Grey.
No, I've got Homme de Grey there. I've got a vintage Monsieur Grey. So
report back on that one.
Yes.
We'll be reporting back on that haul. I also have a large haul of something else coming from deepest Japan. So let us
so
see.
many vintages in Japan. Sorry.
Yes, that's
Really,
right. I have.
Love to just fly there and do some shopping.
Get this right now before everyone else does. I'm telling you, don't question me. Just find it and buy it if you can. I am in love with this. Signor Vivada by Emilio Pucci. Oh, this stuff is fire.
Emilio Pucci has a few different fragrances out there.
Oh my God.
What's it
if
like?
you like leather like I do it. Just don't even think about it. Very rarely will I tell you to just go buy it quick before everyone else does. But yes, I think Anuj might have some.
Really? Anuj, if you're watching, set one aside.
I've got some egoists, some vintage egoists coming.
Oh, more.
Can you, for
Absolutely,
the love of
I'm
Jesus,
be for
for the love of Jesus Christ, can you part with at least one of those?
I will ask my friend if he will ship you some.
Please.
I imagine he will, because he's pretty intrepid. I mean, he gets all over the place.
One partial of the eau de toilette above Chanel bottle, and that's it.
I will see what I can do. Has Anuj not got any?
No, not that I'm aware of. Modern, maybe, but
yeah.
And that's another case of the modern is very good. Modern Egoist is very good, but it ain't the vintage.
No, you're right.
The sandalwood is wholly different.
Yeah.
And better. And
that
better.
Concentrate, I'm in love with that Concentrate bottle that I got. It's so good.
It's fabulous. It's absolutely immense, the Concentrate.
This is all I have of the Egoist.
That's still
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a silver sprayer. It's a vintage. That is an older bottle, Jonathan.
I wouldn't mind the Concentrate.
Yes.
I'm not even going to entertain the idea of the Bois Noir or whatever it's called.
Nikki was asking if Pour un Homme by Caron is stereotypically masculine. No, I don't think it is. Actually, Celine did a fragrance that smells very much like this. The only reason you would think this is stereotypically masculine is because of the lavender. Like if you associate lavender with masculinity, but Celine did a unisex fragrance that smells almost exactly like this. And I think they put like it wasn't a rice note, but it was, what's the note Celine put in their version? Like a barley, or was it barley? I can't remember.
And I don't think it's 100% barbershoppy. I think it's a floral, like a, you know what I mean? Like a floral lavender, it doesn't go into that shave foam, direction. This is a great fragrance.
Yes, and that vanilla makes it, I think, very wearable for a woman, Nikki. You could rock that with no problems. You might love it. The Celine fragrance that they created smells almost exactly like this, but they've added like a note. I forget what it was, barley or rice or something like that, and they charge $350 for it, and it's just basically a clone of a 90-year-old fragrance. And that brings me to another point as to why I love vintage, because you will find many of the new things that come out are takes or reimaginations of these great fragrances of the past. So if you really want to learn about kind of fragrance history and where we are going, you got to kind of learn where we've been. That's my take.
Absolutely.
What's the Celine that smells like this, Jonathan? Do you know? Rimbaud. That's right. Thank you, DJ.
I only have a few decants of Celine. I'm not really versed on that house. That's the one that has the Chanel kind of motif.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you two ever heard of Aramis Impeccable?
Yes, I have.
Is it good?
I don't know, but it's on my list. Impeccable, gentleman, cool, adventurer.
What about Ricci Club? Nina Ricci Club?
I believe I have that.
What about Armani Attitude?
I have that.
Yes, is that the Antoine Lee?
No idea. I'm just reading some of the stuff off that the guy from Japan sent.
It's an Anique. Attitude is an Anique Minardo, Alberto Mordias, and Olivier Crest.
Bloody hell, all three of them.
It's very good.
There's an extreme version of that, Jonathan.
I know. I've been hunting it, believe me.
Yeah, a couple years later, they came out with an extreme version.
The extreme's going for more than the regular one. It's kind of a ghost. There's a few bottles out there, but the prices are just a notch too high.
Yeah.
I'll just sit on it like I do some of the other things. I sit on it, keep it on the radar, see what happens down the road. Find one of those sellers on eBay that they only have one bottle of fragrance, and then they sell like shoes and pictures, and
they don't know what they have.
Yeah, no idea. Right. What was I going to say? Oh, I have that Ricci Club. I have the Ricci for Men, which is actually very good. Oh, hey Ramsey, you were talking about that Roma Uomo.
Yes.
One moment, please.
I've never smelled boy.
Have you ever heard of Niagara by Courageous?
Yeah.
No.
Neither have I, but apparently you can get it.
Never smelled it.
Oof. I'm going to have to go in a minute. It is coming up to my bedtime.
It's coming up on 2 hours.
That is my bedtime.
I can't find it. Whatever. But I have that Laura Biggiotti Roma Uomo. It's actually very good. It's a great orange.
Are you talking about this one?
No, I have the Roma Uomo, the one that's in the pill. It's got the Pantheon looking bottle.
Yeah, that's supposed to smell more like Palomo Picasso Minotaur.
And it does. I have both of those, and they're very good. Except that the Roma Uomo has more orange.
No, there's not a big anise note in Lauder for Men, Rachel. At least not to me. I don't know. Do you guys get a big anise note?
Big? No, but you could convince me it's in there.
Yeah. Just in case I haven't shot myself in the foot enough, I would highly urge you guys to look at this Hashish Homme. I know it's a ghost and a unicorn, but my effing God, if it's ever a ram duck fragrance, this is it.
I told you I'm gonna get the aftershave. I found.
I don't know how you spell it.
Here, I'll leave.
Hashish.
No, Haskish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Unless they spelled it wrong on the damn bottle.
No, I think you're right.
Vijaga. Artemisia leather castoreum.
Yeah, it looks like a banger.
It is spot on.
I found a bottle of Ebene Fumé, a 250 ml bottle.
Oh,
sealed. Take a stab at how much they want.
700.
Close. 629.50.
No, offer them 400.
I'm not offering him shit. I want to get the mini and see if I like it enough to even consider it.
It's worth it. I mean, it's kind of, you know what it's kind of like to me? It's in the same realm of Tuscany per Uomo.
So I found a bottle. I found a bottle of this Hashish Uomo, Hashish Homme for £121 for 100 ml.
Is it the EDT?
Is it the what?
EDT.
The EDT.
It's the EDT.
Is it Hashish Homme?
I'll send you the link.
Is this the box?
Hashish perfume, Hashish Homme with a box.
Is that the box?
Don't know. Pass. Could be. No, it's got like a red. Hold on.
Be careful because the women's.
That's the women's.
Oh
yeah,
no!
That's the women's.
It says men. It says men on it. Hashish men.
No.
It says Hashish. What?
On the eBay write up or the actual bottle.
On the bottle it says Hashish men.
What? Show me again.
Let's see that again.
I've sent you the link. Can you see that?
Yes. So apparently Hashish Men is the second version. Hashish Homme is the first one that looks like the box Jonathan showed. See how mine says Hashish Homme?
Got you.
So I don't know. That might be worth taking a flyer on. Honestly, it's so rare. If that's really the men's, if that's the EDT, and that's just the second version, you know, it didn't run very long. It came out in 83. If that's like an 86 or an 89 or a 90 bottle, go do it. I mean, honestly, I would pay $300 for this and be happy. If I could find 100 ml of this for $300, I'd do it right now, right this second.
Yikes.
Did I mute Jonathan? Sorry about that, Jonathan. Your mic isn't connected, it says.
Can't hear anything.
We've lost Jonathan?
No.
Look, a super chat? And I didn't even have to beg for it? Thank you, Tappy.
You hear me?
Yes, you're back.
Yes, you're back.
That men Homme, that might be a market thing. Homme in one market, men in the other. So it might be because it's the same exact bottle. It may be a second iteration, but who knows? I'm gonna get the original aftershave and see what it's like.
Honestly, Rich,
aftershave.
If that's legit and you can do it for that price, do it. Do it.
Yeah, for sure.
What's it like?
Taffy J, 1111, make a wish.
It's everything. It is everything that we ask for in a fragrance. Spicy, leathery, animalic, you know, 80s. It's so 80s, dude.
I would like a bottle of Punjab. You know, Punjab by Capucci.
So
I would like a good bottle of that. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Give me 2 minutes.
I've seen a splash for a half decent price. You think it's worth a go, Ramsey?
Probably I'll get a splash rather than the atomizer because the atomizer's like it's a propellant one.
Yeah. I could just hold this. If I just held this atomizer, it would just spray and spray and spray and spray.
Yeah, I have a few of those, and they keep the fragrances very well.
Yeah,
under pressure, something about that gas that keeps the fragrances right.
But if it breaks,
you're screwed.
Think about it.
Yeah, you're screwed.
You might as well just take a hammer to the bottle. This is very much like Yatagan, though.
That's another one I don't have. I need to sort out. I need to sort out Yatagan. That sounds like it's my jam.
Oh yeah, Punjab and Yatagan are kind of brothers in arms.
You think they're redundant?
No.
No.
I mean, I love the DNA so much that wouldn't matter to me.
What's Punjab? Is that Capucci?
Yes. Apparently, it's a region of India.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't know the company. I thought
Someone tried to say that it's a slur word, that Punjab is like a bad word, so they won't buy it. It's just a region of India. I mean,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
This is a safe space.
People get offended at anything, man.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know. I think the pendulum will swing back to the center one of these days, where people like, you know, just use their common sense. You know, get a sense of humor. Get a sense of humor and use your common sense, and everything will be fine.
Whoever said Punjab is a slur has no brain function. Yes. That's it. Hashish Men is the second reform. Castoreum toned down. Third reform is Hashish Dew Men Blue Cap. You think it's still getting the for 127 pounds? That sounds worth it, Armando. I'd say go for it.
Good shout. Good shout, Armando. Thank you for that information. Excellent.
Yes, thank you for the mini too. I'm gonna wear this and do a video on it. I'm sure there's almost no YouTube videos on
So I'll ask Armando, is the first formulation aftershave worth a go? It's only $50 for. I saw it. I just want to get a sense of the DNA. I wonder if the aftershave is worth a go. Excellent. Good info.
Yeah. Armando's
like
man.
Last couple of videos he's been sending you stuff. Seems like he's got a good collection, eh?
Yep. He sent me he sent me this one a while ago, the original Aramis Calligraphy.
Yeah,
and then he sent me the two flankers and the last haul, the Saffron.
The Saffron I've smelled. That's the only one I've smelled.
Yeah, and the rose. So this will give me. Yeah, Armando
kind of light.
The aftershave.
They're kind of like get the aftershave.
Yeah.
Of the okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
$50. Yeah.
Just to get a good sense of the DNA. I was just saying I was saying it earlier. Those aftershaves, I am not shy about grabbing the aftershaves. Like that Ralph Lauren romance that people have been talking about recently. Price tags are stupid, so I got the aftershave off of Nuge for peanuts.
Yeah,
and it's very good, but I'm glad I got the aftershave because I'm not spending $300-400 for romance by Ralph Lauren.
Right? No,
I mean, and the aftershave's quality, so you splash a little bit more on.
Some of those old aftershaves perform better than the new releases, anyway.
Solid. 70s and 80s aftershaves are not to be overlooked, in my opinion. I have quite a few.
Yeah. You know, there's a part 2 of the blind sniffing that Armando sent me. There's going to be a part 2 of that.
Dude, your videos are like an avalanche. I like last night I sat through like an hour and a half one. Night before I sat through an hour. Like I'll put them on when I'm doing stuff around here, and I kind of listen in as I go because I try to catch up, dude, but you're just a wall of videos you're putting out. I struggle to put one out a month, and you're putting out like hour-long feature films, like docudramas, and I'm like, what the fuck? Hour and 43 minutes. What the fuck is that? Would it take like 6 hours to upload? How long did it take to upload that damn thing to YouTube?
No, I've got it down, dude. If I go stand right next to my modem, it downloads like this. If I'm up in my office, which is on the other side of the house, it takes hours. Literally, I mean, it could take 3 hours and then feels like it starts all over again sometimes. You ever have that happen?
Yeah, I'm up in the loft where the router is right here on the side. So my downloads only take 15-20 minutes.
Yeah. If I stand right next to that router, it's done in no time. But if I'm up here, forget about it.
Yeah, it's craziness.
Taffy
How long
gave
have we been
Calligraphy rose to her sister.
Yeah, I've smelled the saffron, I think. I don't know if I smelled the saffron or the rose. I think I smelled the saffron, but it's very light, I thought. Do you think that, am I wrong? The saffron?
I haven't worn it yet.
It's kind of light.
I haven't worn it yet.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What else? What else?
Black Monday said he just got Pour Louis, and he can see how people say it's a blue fragrance before blue fragrances. I don't think it's a blue fragrance, but I think it is kind of one of those turning points where it's already, you can see in the 80s they are starting to turn more fresh. This is even before Koros and even before Antaeus and stuff like that, and there's already starting to be a little bit more freshness added to this, but there's still a little bit of that 80s masculine aromatic, you know, funk going on in there. A nice Christmas tip.
This is that Ghost Man I was talking about.
Yes, 2004.
Yeah. Really good.
Hello, Filippo. Good to see you, man.
Miorelli. Excellent.
Yeah, it smells mossy to me too, Nick. I get a lot of that moss, and but there is a little bit of freshness. Like if you really pay attention to it, there's a little bit of freshness in Oscar de la Renta Pour Louis. Like you can see the turn beginning. You know, it's not Aramis New West fresh or anything like that, but there is just a little bit of like you can see the trend starting to turn. And then of course stuff like that Lauder for Men Metropolis is even more fresh. So yes. Yeah, I had that bottle and I had to decant it because the sprayer broke, so I basically decanted it and threw the whole bottle out. Thank you, Filippo.
Really?
It's very kind of you, mate. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
We don't have a super sticker, super chat board on this channel, so apologies.
Wow.
But thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very nice.
Right, gentlemen, it is my time to go.
Thanks for being here, Rich.
Yeah,
Thank you for having us.
This was a pleasure. This is a real pleasure. We should do this once in a while, yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should do like a periodic thing. Check in, see what we've gotten, and stuff like that.
That's it. We'll make it a custom.
Yes.
Little round table.
Ram Duck T-Rex vintage stream.
Hell yeah.
Are you two going to carry on? Are you going to carry on?
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I'm probably going to jet too. We'll just call it.
Yeah.
We'll call it a day. Stream. It was a good stream. I'll look forward to your haul this evening, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'll probably start working on it right after this.
That's it. All right. Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody in the chat.
Cheers.
Ramsey.
Adios.
See ya.
Later.